He did everything he thought he was supposed to do. Worked hard. Showed up every day. Stayed loyal to his job for decades. And like millions of people, he believed that retirement would take care of itself once he finally stopped working. But poor planning didn't just inconvenience his retirement, it quietly ruined it. And the most painful part is that none of it happened overnight. For most of his adult life, work gave him identity, structure, and confidence. He knew his role. He knew his value. Retirement felt distant, almost unreal, so he postponed serious planning. Telling himself he still had time, when coworkers talked about preparing emotionally, socially, or mentally for retirement, he brushed it off. He believed planning meant saving money, and even that, he assumed, would somehow work out. When retirement finally arrived, the first few weeks felt good. No alarm clock, no deadlines, no pressure. He felt proud, like he had earned this rest. But soon, small cracks began to appear. The first mistake was financial overconfidence. He underestimated how different money feels when it stops coming in. Expenses he once ignored suddenly felt heavy. Healthcare costs arrived faster than expected. Inflation quietly reduced his buying power. Fear replaced confidence. Instead of enjoying retirement, he started worrying about every purchase. Poor planning didn't make him broke, it made him anxious. And anxiety changes how you live. Pro tip: retirement stress often doesn't come from lack of money, it comes from lack of clarity. The second mistake was emotional unpreparedness. Work had provided him with routine, goals, and daily interaction. Retirement removed all of that overnight. He didn't replace it with anything meaningful. Days stretched longer. Motivation faded. Without structure, he began waking up later, doing less, and feeling worse. He couldn't explain it, but something felt missing. That missing piece was purpose. Another major mistake was ignoring identity loss. For decades, introductions came easily. His job explained who he was. After retirement, that identity vanished. Conversations felt awkward. He no longer felt needed. Slowly, his confidence eroded. Society didn't help. Retirement made him feel invisible. Poor planning hadn't just affected his schedule. It had stripped away his sense of relevance. Relationships also suffered. He assumed retirement would strengthen them automatically. Instead, work friendships faded quickly. Social interaction dropped. He didn't replace those connections with new ones. Insider secret: retirement magnifies what already exists. If life lacked balance before, retirement exposes it. Health became another wake-up call. Without daily movement and mental challenge, his energy declined faster than expected. Small aches became big excuses. Doctor visits became more frequent. The gap between how he imagined retirement and how his body felt grew wider. Frustration followed. Poor planning hadn't caused aging, but it failed to prepare him for it. One of his biggest mistakes was believing rest alone would satisfy him. He thought relaxation was the goal, but rest without engagement led to stagnation. Boredom turned into irritability. Irritability turned into withdrawal. Without purpose, his mind turned inward, focusing on worries and regrets. There was also the mistake of comparison. He saw others traveling, staying active, appearing happy. He didn't see their struggles, only their highlights. Comparing his reality to their image deepened his disappointment. He began believing he had failed retirement itself. Ancient wisdom reminds us that when one season ends, another must begin. Life was never meant to stop, it was meant to change. But poor planning left him stuck between who he was and who he hadn't yet become. Another costly error was waiting for motivation. He kept telling himself he'd start doing something when he felt ready, but motivation never came. Depression doesn't announce itself loudly, it whispers through apathy. The longer he waited, the harder it became to act. What ruined his retirement wasn't one dramatic mistake. It was a series of small assumptions: that money planning was enough, that purpose would appear automatically, that rest would be fulfilling, that identity wouldn't matter. Each assumption chipped away at his quality of life. The tragedy is that most of this was preventable if he had planned beyond finances. If he had Prepared emotionally, socially, and mentally. Retirement could have looked very different. Purpose could have replaced position. Connection could have replaced coworkers. Meaning could have replaced routine. If you're approaching retirement, this story is your warning. Don't just plan your exit, plan your arrival. Build interests now. Strengthen relationships. Practice defining yourself without your job title. Prepare your mind, not just your money. If you're already retired and see yourself in this story, understand this: you're not too late. Poor planning doesn't have to define the rest of your life. Small steps still matter. Purpose can still be built. Identity can still be reshaped. In closing, retirement doesn't fail people, assumptions do. A fulfilling retirement is not automatic. It's intentional, designed, adjusted, and worth the effort. If this story opened your eyes, support the channel by subscribing, liking the video, and sharing your thoughts below. Here at After Retirement, we share the real stories and hard truths so you can avoid regret, protect your future, and live this chapter with clarity, purpose, and dignity.